He sits on a cash pile waiting for the next crisis.
Did you feel during the AGM that Mr. Warren Buffett gave a signal on the business model he's putting? He's changing his mindset?
Buffett has a problem that I think all of us pray to have, which is he has too much money. There is no market like the US.
Hi, welcome back to Merrill Talk. Today, I will be your host. What a surprise. I'm sure you will be surprised who is our guest. It's our usual host. Why? He went to US, and to be specific, he went to Nebraska and a beautiful city of Omaha. Why? You can imagine every year, the value investors person you, Mike, you are, need to go to the annual place, which is with Mr. Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. So, Mike, let's talk about value investing, which I know you are clearly a fan of it. And fan not only, I don't know, we can start also with our audience to say that the foundations of value investing is coming from the intelligent investor, Benjamin Graham. So everyone should have it on his table and start to do it. So, Mike, my first question, it was like an incredible thanks for you to go finally. I think you convinced your father also to join it.
Yes.
And I think for you it was quite emotional, I presume. And I think you need to give us your first feeling when you arrive. I think you recognize some interesting things and the business. And I think it started at the airport.
Yes, indeed. The first thing I saw when I landed was the See's candy stand, which is one of the first major acquisitions that Buffett had made under Berkshire Hathaway after they had bought blue chip stamps back then. They bought See's candies for around 25 million, and it has generated over 2 billion in earnings, which is, a super investment. They did pretty well, obviously. That was great to see. I've been here.
I think, Mike, you brought us some photos, some image just to...
Oh, yes, and I can definitely show the See's candy stand. I have many things that I think people will enjoy to see. And the airport is actually really, really small. It only has 2 places to come out from, tiny airport, lovely place. Everything's massive for a Maltese man to be in the US for the first time. It was a massive, massive place. Roads are massive, beautiful place. The people are great. It's a quiet city. It was really great, and I was really impressed by the size of the health center, the CHI Health Center, where the AGM is actually held. You have tens of thousands of people. It's a massive stadium, indoor stadium, and Buffett's face is all over it, and it's the first thing you hear when you enter. So
very interesting. And also, I think the investor community here is quite strong. So you had the chance also to meet a lot of investors.
Yes.
You attend, as you told me, like several offsite meetings.
Yes.
And how is the current feeling about this? Because as we know, we are very concerned, and a lot of investors are concerned about the trajectory of US. Not anymore this dominant player in the world. So how's the feeling there? And they're still like very convinced that US is the best place to invest?
Well, the value investing community, Mark, is very different to every other community, but every other community has its own way of thinking, is much less sensitive to what occurs over short spans of time, and pay a lot of attention to longer trends that they exploit actually when short-term problems occur. So I saw nothing different. In fact, I saw a lot of people that during the little shock we had in April, doubling down and calling out for great opportunity in spaces that, to be fair, most of the industry is afraid to touch in the asset management business. Buffett himself, Buffett operates with a closed capital structure, which is very different to most of funds, which are open-ended. So this gives him the ability to have permanent capital and not worry about short-term issues and problems that are occurring. So there was really no negativity in terms of, there was worry, there was some expression also about current policy, but we'll talk about that later. Buffett made a comment on current policy.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, overall, it's just about, even when you go to these investor communities and meet the people, everyone's just sharing their favorite company. They really don't talk about macro here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So the mindset here is like try to be a hunter
Yes.
for the best business.
Yes.
And did you feel during the AGM that Mr. Warren Buffett gave a signal on the business model he's putting, because we can consider as a conglomerate in the way, with a stable cash flow from the insurance part of the business.
Yes.
But you see him, because for the past few weeks, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was disinvesting quite a significant amount on US bank, but also on Apple, which
Yes.
is his main things. So clearly he's dispatching this money part in Japan. Do you see like he's changing his mindset, or the anchor are still there? Obviously, talking about the insurance part, it's still there. But you're seeing like he has such a high level of cash at the moment, correct?
Well, Buffett has a problem that I think all of us pray to have, which is he has too much money. When you have that amount of cash, we're talking over 300 billion. The only thing that is going to move the needle is something that's in the tens of billions. And for Buffett to find an opportunity in the tens of billions is quite rare. And Buffett has also expressed that this current market is not a cheap market. So to invest in larger companies for the long haul is not that attractive. So he sits on this cash pile, and he seems to give no indication. Well, Buffett being Buffett, he loves anonymity. I even got to visit his office, and I mean, he's in a random building, renting out one floor. And why does this tie in? Because he is all about anonymity. His next move, will never know what it is, and he will die protecting his secret until it comes out in the 13F filings. So my point is, no, we cannot really interpret what he's going to do next. But in commenting on stuff like Apple, stuff on banks, he's made it very clear, and he's been very consistent, that position changes are more about longer term views or overvaluation. In the case of Apple, Apple is still the largest holding in his stock portfolio. So in terms of conviction, Apple has not changed. But he sold at a time where the valuation of Apple, relatively speaking, was not as attractive as it historically has been. And so he capitalized on the opportunity because he thought he could generate a higher return on that capital instead of leaving it invested in Apple at that valuation. So I don't really think much has changed in terms of his positioning. I think he sits on a cash pile waiting for the next crisis, to be honest, because that's when he makes the most moves. The last time he did it, in fact, was in 2008, where he went crazy buying everything he could. So I think he's praying for something wrong to go to happen, because it's a super opportunity for someone that has, I think, around not exactly, but around 5%, I think, of treasury bills are in his hands at the moment, or something less. But it's a percentage. The fact that this man has a percentage of treasury bills is crazy to me. So he's waiting for something to happen.
Okay, interesting. And on that same way of thinking, you see the business moving in the things, because you are in the heart of US.
Yes.
And clearly Nebraska is really the heart of US. You have been surprised on how the offsite meeting, because maybe you get some insight from that side. How's the feeling here of this investor community and what they're talking about at the moment?
Well, basically, I mean, everyone was shocked. I don't want to jump ahead, but everyone was shocked by seeing Buffett step down. I mean, it was obviously expected. The man is older than most of the population, but it's still a shock to see a man step down that's been in a position for 60 years. Apart from that, very quickly, at events like the Markle brunch, or there were other funds that had their meetings there, and some communities that we even podcast-wise like to listen to. It was simply sharing stock picks. I mean,
Okay.
everybody is looking at a different market. It's so great. I mean, you meet some guys from India and they're telling you their Indian picks and why they're great. You meet some guys from Europe that are telling you why they have some great picks in Italy or in some southern market that not many people are touching. You have people talking about Canadian picks. To be honest, I left there with a long list of picks to look into, which I think is great. I shared some of my own as well, and it's a lovely interaction. It's like people are trading football cards nearly. It's beautiful. Everyone is hunting, and I mean, if you're at the right places, and most of the events were great. I mean, you met a lot of like-minded people and great people in the industry as well. As you know, I ran into Bill Ekman. There were even people like Pabrai and Guy Spear running around, and I mean, these are great guys in the value investing community. So it was great to be in their presence, and yeah.
So you have been quite lucky of
Yes, very
to
much.
be. Okay. So just from a personal perspective, you think the US market it's becoming cheap
Well,
or not enough cheap?
I
And this year it's not a recommendations. We don't tell
no,
any
no, of course
recommendations
not.
here.
Of course
It's
not.
just like from a very long-term perspective, how you see this.
But I think the best way to express this opinion is what I would do with my money.
Mm-hmm.
And as things currently stand, I do not see that there is some opportunity to exploit in terms of how cheap the market has been. I think April 2nd, was it April 2nd or
Mhm.
April 5th?
Correct.
Was a good time to be looking at the market because, I mean, such a shock. I personally still didn't make a move. But I think overall, I mean, we have all these great tech companies that deserve high valuations, to be fair. They're great businesses that will continue to grow, in my opinion, just fine. But I mean, I don't see valuations attractively cheap. And I think you'll look at valuations being attractively cheap when everyone else is telling you to wait, when everyone else is telling you to actually run away. These are times when you'll see the stock market as cheap. But at the same time, then your fear of going against most of the crowd will also make it quite difficult to invest in the market at that time. So it's a tough balance. And the only people that actually get the benefit, in my opinion, of investing in a cheap market are those that are cut off and away from Wall Street and all this noise and ruckus, which we're lucky to have. We're on the other side of the world. Buffett lives very far away from Wall Street as well, so he knows what he's doing. And so do most of the value investing community. So I think we get to benefit from it the next time that we see some crisis.
So if I understand, the message is to live off the grid and be patient.
Yes. Yes,
That's the
very much,
message.
very simple, and yes, I mean, and I think for most investors that works, and I think it works brilliantly. So, yep, I think so. Yes.
It's a fantastic.
I'll-
It's living in an ideal world because us at Merrill, obviously, we are facing the mark to market
Yes.
because we are facing clearly the Trump tariff war, and we try to have a dynamic approach on that side. Try to avoid. I mean, the ideal world, it's clearly, like you said, living off the grid. Takes some time to think and try to really separate the noise and the signals, as we say. But no, I'm seeing like a very enthusiastic community, and I'm happy to see this, even if I'm not on the same school of thought, I will say.
But to make it clear, because I want to add a point
Mhm.
to the US market, I still think that there is no market like the US. I mean, meritocracy, rule of law, capitalism, there is nothing like it than the US in terms of a market that has demonstrated this consistently for decades. So I
sure.
love the US and I pray to the value gods that one day we get to buy at a very cheap price the US market because it's a great market. I think there's nothing like it. So to make it clear, I'm not at all against the US market. I think it's not one of the best market by far.
Thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to get your perspective, especially you have been on the ground here. It was really get your perspective, your insight. Thank you very much. For once, I'm the host, but definitely, I think for our audience, we want to try to bring you the most insight we can. And I think as you following us for a long time, I presume Mike is a part of our ecosystem, and clearly here we wanted to give him his voice here on this Merrill Talk. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you appreciate this, I will say, very special video. But if you like it, don't hesitate to put comment here on YouTube or LinkedIn. And don't forget also to following us on LinkedIn, because you will find a lot of insight. We're happy to share with you some insight, and hope to see you soon for the next video. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.